Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's John. I make no apologies for the hair. Bit of a lockdown madness time for us all. Another vintage camera this week, and this is the Canon Sure Shot multi-tele point and shoot, but packs a few nice little surprises. So let's take a look. So here we go. This is the Canon multi-tele, Sure Shot multi-tele. It was called that in the United States. Actually over here and in the rest of the Europe, it was known as the Prima Tele, and in Japan, the Autoboy Tele 6. All exactly the same camera, just renamed for different markets. So this camera was first released in March 1988. And it's a fully automatic, fully autofocus camera offering two frame formats, but I'll come back to that later on. But it also has two focal lengths, well in fact three with an optional extra. But again, I shall revisit that subject in shortly. It's a 35mm point and shoot. And like most point and shoots, very, very simple to use, as the name suggests. However, unlike many point and shoots, this one's actually quite sophisticated and has quite a few different features on it. Full disclosure, unfortunately, my version doesn't seem to work. It was in amongst some other cameras that I got, I didn't pay for. And unfortunately, although I put fresh batteries and everything else, it does power on. But refuses to actually function correctly. So I'm going to be limited in what I can show you. Yeah, hopefully you'll get the gist anyway. So if we start on the back, loading the film pretty much the same as any other 35mm. We've got a little sliding switch here to open the back door. And once inside, you can see that the film goes here. If you've seen my DX film video, or you may be familiar anyway, there's some contacts here for accepting DX film. The film is brought across to where it says film, and all we do then, once that's done, is close the back. Had there been batteries, that will automatically wind the film on to the start, which is rather nice. Little window here then to remind you which film is loaded if you can't tell, and there's a digital frame count, so it will automatically start at 1, and every time you press a switch, obviously it'll wind on automatically, but this number will advance as well. We have a switch on top here, which I'll explain in more detail, but effectively this turns the camera on and also sets our focal length, but I'll come back to that. And we have then a little viewfinder here, which includes a little green light which illuminates to tell you that it's ready to take a shot. But again, I'll come back to that. On top here, we have our shutter release, and we have a self-timer button. I'll come back to the other two in a moment. We have also got a button to turn on the built-in flash, which is here. And we've also got a button as a bulb mode. However, it is a maximum of 4 seconds. It isn't a proper bulb mode that will stay open as long as you press it. Maximum of 4 seconds, but still quite useful. If we spin it round to the front, so our lens is actually hidden behind here, and had I got batteries in it, once I half press the shutter, this window would actually slide aside like so, to allow you to use the lens, and then automatically close back up again. But obviously, as I said to you, it's not functioning properly. Across the top here then, we have a LED for the self-timer. So as I say, the button's on top. Once that's pressed, this flashes to indicate that the shutter is about to fire. We have a window here, which is our exposure meter, so that the camera can automatically adjust the shutter speed, etc. And then two windows here, which are for focusing, autofocus. So we're not looking through these, but the camera then gets a stereoscopic view, if you like, of the subject, and can adjust focus automatically based on the focal length, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then the last little window here is the viewfinder window. So when we're looking through here, this is what we're actually seeing through. flash at the top here, and then lastly on the front we have a little foot which we can bring down at various heights, and when we place the camera then it's useful for self-timer mode. Makes it useful for actually displaying in my display cabinet as well. Okay, so let's go back to some of the features that I've skipped over. The first one is the focal length of the camera. Flip it over to the back. When we first turn it on, the middle option here is our sort of standard focal length, which is 35mm f3.5, and obviously that would take the majority of our shots, everything looking good. But if you'd like to get a little closer, maybe it's for portrait work, something like that, we can flick it over to the next setting, and that then gives us a 60mm lens at f5.6, so a telephoto lens effectively. And it's all automatic, it's all done inside the camera automatically, which is rather nice. There was then an optional extra you could buy, which would then increase that further to a 75mm lens, but still at the f5.6. And luckily, I actually have that optional extra here. So let me try and demonstrate how this works. It's going to be a bit fiddly, but basically this opens up. On the bottom of the camera, we have the mount for the tripod and the batteries, which I'll come back to. So the tripod mount would normally go in there, but this would also take this device. So I can attach that to the bottom and screw it in. This would then go over the top of the camera. And it has to be in the telephoto mode for it to work, because otherwise this won't fit over. But that then just clips on to there, preventing you from accidentally changing it back to normal mode. But the other thing that happens, there is a little tiny stud here which would depress this little button here. You can see that for the camera, and that would allow the camera to know that this device has been fitted. Your viewfinder has been magnified as well, but we've now got this 75mm lens on it, which is quite a nice little feature for a point and shoot, I think. Also, when the device is fitted, the tripod mount is actually still available by way of this option here. The other nice but unusual feature for this is the ability to actually change the frame size. So 35mm film, by default, when we're using it in this camera and in most 35mm cameras, you're getting a full frame. You're taking a picture of roughly 24 by 36mm, something along those lines. But this option, we can actually, with this camera rather, we can actually switch over to half frame mode, and we do it, if we open the back here, we do it by way of this little yellow switch here. If I flick that over when I'm loading the film, I'm trying to do it so you can still see what's happening. Can you see the little shutter windows that come across? We're now in half frame mode. So two things happen with this. Out of your sort of 36 exposures on your 35mm film, we're now getting 72. Obviously, if it was a 24 exposure, you'd get 48. But you're effectively getting a different format. So once that's closed up, the camera now knows it's in half frame mode and adjusts its shots accordingly. As it's inside, you can't accidentally change modes sort of halfway through a film, which is rather nice. It's because of these additional features I was really keen to try this camera out, and so I was quite disappointed to find it wasn't functioning. So I'm going to look out for one, and when I do, I will shoot a video of me using it and the results that I get, because I'm really keen to see. Battery compartment on the bottom here, which obviously just twist this to open it up, and the battery type is a little bit unusual. It looks initially like two AA's, but it's this this format instead, which is still available, luckily. So I've got a Panasonic one here. 2CR5 is the format, but I'm sure there are other manufacturers out there. It's effectively like two AA's, but obviously this is the correct one to use. Unfortunately, as I said to you, with my particular version, it'll power on and it will get to the first frame, but then nothing happens after that. It's kind of stuck at the first frame and never takes any pictures, which is, like I say, very disappointing. Just the other thing to mention, there is a place to fit a strap on. I don't know whether this actually would have come with a strap originally or not, but yeah, certainly it's an option. The last control that I haven't mentioned is this one here. So again, assuming everything's functioning correctly, when you got to the end of the film, it would automatically rewind back into the canister of the film. But if for whatever reason you wanted to wind back before then, or you maybe there was a malfunction or something like that, and you needed to wind back by hand, if you like, there was a button that you could press, nice and small, so you didn't press it by accident, but an option to press that with a pen or something, and it would then wind the film back regardless of where you'd got to in the frame count. So there we go, the multi-tele sure shot from Canon. Hopefully I can find one that works and give it a try. Thank you again ever so much for all your subscriptions, likes, comments, shares, etc. It really is appreciated. Hopefully that won't stop now I've got this hairstyle, but I'll put links below to the website, to my shop if you'd like to buy any of my prints, and also merchandise, which as you can see I'm sporting here. Other than that, thank you ever so much. See you next time.